Ours is working.
I'll take this one.
Okay. Once again, I'd like to welcome everybody here, and if everybody would rise, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Did anyone have any comments or questions about the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question about the agenda. As people may notice, we did not start the meeting with a prayer. And I'd like to turn some time over to our legal counsel to maybe discuss why that change has happened at this point in time. Would that be okay?
That would be. Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Perez. Yeah, so what happened was the board was given a letter from an organization called the Freedom from Religion Foundation. And therein they pointed out that we were saying prayers at the beginning of our meeting, which we had been. And they also pointed out that in the state that we live, Idaho is part of the Ninth Circuit. And in the Ninth Circuit, the court has held that boards cannot pray before school board meetings. And that's been on the books for quite some time. And so they essentially told us, look, either you stop praying as part of the board meetings or we are going to file a civil rights complaint against you. The civil rights complaint would have, basically because of the nature of what the Ninth Circuit has ruled, would have ended with them prevailing in a lawsuit against us. And because of the way the statute is written, they would have also been able to recover attorney's fees. And so the board, in addition to paying its own legal fees to fight this, they would have had to pay the other sides as well, which would have created a couple $100,000 liability for the district. And so as we talked about this with the board and explained that to them, the decision, was essentially made that we don't have a bottomless pit of money to fight these types of causes, and so it would be in the board or the district's best interest to forego prayer for the foreseeable future until the law changes in this part of the country. So that's why that's been taken off. Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Mr. Cotton, for explaining that. I'd like to go on record that though I completely disagree under the way that this is being done, but that our hand is being forced, I will support the agenda, but it is, I love this community. I love the fact that we have been supported for so long in opening up our meetings with prayer. I think that given the chance that most of our community would continue to support that, and when that would be their desire moving forward, but where it's become a legal issue and we just don't have the funds to fight the battle, I unfortunately would say that I agree with Mr. Cotton and that we move forward with that action.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Perez. Any other comments or questions on the agenda?
I agree. I don't like it, but our hands are kind of tied.
Yeah, I echo the same sentiment. I wish it was something we could continue doing, but unfortunately our hands are kind of tied on this one. So I guess if there's no further comments, I would accept a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Vice Chair Anderson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Trustee Claridge. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. Were there any comments or questions on the consent agenda tonight?
I had some questions on the consent agenda for the disposition sheets number 2, listed with a bunch of electronic equipment, it looks like from the IT department, but there was no values shown on what it was, how much it's currently worth, and what is actually happening with those items. It was just all kind of left blank. So if we get a clarification on that, that would be great.
Yeah, we do that every year. That's our iPads from the previous years. So we've got 5 grades that have iPads. We take the oldest one. We actually send those to a recycling company. Diamond Assets is the company. And what they do is once they've got them all, they assess what kind of shape they're in and stuff, and then they pay us for them, and we use that money to buy or to help buy the next year's iPads. Is what that is. So those are all the serial numbers of everything that went to Diamond Assets. Is what that is. So,
Okay.
That's a great idea, and maybe next year when you do that, just put that explanation down at the bottom, that's where they're going, and
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
a
can do
recycling, and
Is that the same? Oh, sorry, didn't mean
no,
to interrupt
you're
you.
good.
What
you're good.
about? I see there's like some servers listed, and
Those we're not going to get any money out of. No, those are just metal basically at this point. We take the hard drives out of them. Though that's just metal
obsolete.
racks
Yeah.
and
Computer technology poorly holds its value.
those servers are very old. Those servers. So sometimes you'll see like on that list, there's like an Apple M1 MacBook.
Mhm.
That one didn't go to Diamond Assets because it's beyond repair. We're not going to get any money out of that one. It shattered or something. So
No trade.
not all of them go to Diamond Assets. The working ones go to Diamond Assets.
Do
But yeah, we can explain what
Yeah,
it is.
that'd be good, just for not only our knowledge, but also for our parents, our taxpayers out there, so they have an idea of what's happening.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I guess question: do you ever get a surplus that then you do? These are sellable, available, public auction type of situation.
Do we ever get people asking us?
Well, do you ever have a situation where you get that kind of surplus that you would then sell a surplus if it ever happened? Or is it not
maybe in the past we never have
to hold on to want to even do that kind of
Well,
thing?
like you had said earlier, just with technology and how it doesn't hold its value, that would be a rarity if we had a
If you ever
surplus that we could
do that.
thought was worth something.
The biggest problem we
technology-wise.
had, this is years ago before me, is when we did do something like that, we got a lot of people coming that bought this equipment and wanted
Expecting warranty or
wanted
service.
help, wanted service, wanted a lot, even though it was very clear that
Gotta last
that's now
forever.
yours.
It's as is.
Yeah, it didn't quite
pass
turn
through
into
it.
that, so that's not really what's
Okay.
kept. But I mean, I'd be open to looking into that. It's just that's
If it's ever possible.
not tradition. This is what we haven't done before. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay, hearing no other comments or questions, the consent agenda is adopted by unanimous consent. Carrie, were there any patron comments turned in? Okay. Okay, moving on to discussion items. Item A, Administrator Department Committee reports. MCA, do you have anything you'd like to report tonight?
A lot of our members went to Lewiston this week for some extra training and some of the free classes that we offer. They were free to members. What else did we do this? We're gearing up to finish negotiations this week by noon. That's all we've done so far.
I've got it in writing now.
Sweet.
Okay. Any other questions on those reports? Okay. Mr. Larson.
I have a few things for the board. One, I met with Jason Van Every this morning for a couple hours. Had a pretty good discussion just on things that not included in the maintenance report that I wanted the board to be aware of. One, we're still working through the insurance claim regarding the hail damage from now a year and a half ago. And we had some preliminary quotes, and we had been waiting for get an adjuster out. That was just taking time. We had reached out, we got some quotes. Well, it looks like we had somebody else come in from the Treasure Valley last week, did a walkthrough, and it looks like the damage may be more substantial than even the first people had said. And so, we're working through that. It hasn't been dropped. We just want to make sure that we get everything included that needs to be. I think some of the early reports just had the HVAC units themselves. Well, then we saw damage to roofs or potential damage to the roof material, the TPO. There is potential damage to wiring going to the HVAC units and piping that's up there. And this person was worried that maybe if that stuff's damaged and it wasn't included, could really hinder flow, back and forth. So we're just trying to make sure we do a thorough enough job and get everything included that needs to be. So that's going on. We're working through, it was a House Bill 521, the facilities bill, and that kind of money, where the state has provided over a 10-year period, funding for school facilities. There was training, I think, 2 weeks ago on how to use their software. We had to wait for them to create the software. That's been done. Jason has had some training on how to go through the buildings and just kind of document what's needed. The goal is to have our facilities in good condition. That was the intent of this, and so we'll get that done. And we need to hold our facilities committee meetings, make sure that things that need to be improved upon can, and have that over a 10-year period on to what that'll look like. Some of that it has already been done in the levy plan, because that was taken out a couple years, but unfortunately the levy has day-to-day stuff which we can't include. It has other items that can't be included. So this is just to facilities, but we're anticipating possibly requesting that money in October. And it looks like we'll be getting about 16 to 17 million, but again, that's supposed to be over a 10-year period, and cannot be used on day-to-day maintenance. So really just big facility items. We have online registration coming up. That's on the 29th. Have an admin meeting scheduled for the 30th, and I know everyone's looking forward to that. Second day back on the job right before we go to ISA. And so that's coming up this week as well. A lot of good things get shared there. So hopefully we can bring back some good information. Our welcome back meeting, staff meeting, will be August 12th, and board, you are invited to that. If more than 3 of you wish to attend, we'll just advertise it as a quorum of the board. But chairman, vice chairman, or any others, if you would like to, have 5 to 10 minutes to, say some remarks, that would be fine too. Or even a minute. It doesn't have to be long. So the invitation is there. So we talked about that. We're working on getting our free and reduced numbers up for this next year. Really, the low numbers from the previous year hurt a couple of our budget areas, such as special education and our federal programs that rely on those numbers. So we'll do what we can to improve that. Business office, board has been aware that they're working through some things. They had some training last week, 2 days of full day training from Tyler Technologies. That's our iVisions and just making sure it was set up properly, that we're entering things how we need to and making it work efficiently for us. And they're still just going through and cleaning up just past issues that have been present in the district. So hopefully that won't be too much longer. It just takes some time with all the current stuff going on. And so they take the time that's needed, but it just makes it a longer process. Oh, fences. It was actually the first thing. 2 items. We talked to the contractor regarding fencing out at West and Paul. The contractor has the necessary materials to get going on that, and we're hoping in the next couple of weeks we can get that scheduled and completed. So that'll be the fence at West for next to the personal property, and also the fencing to complete the security there at
At the
Paul.
back of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Back there, okay, on
Yep.
that north side.
Mhm.
Okay,
so
it's been a while.
that's good.
That's been a while.
Nice.
Thanks, Gary.
Can I ask about the striping bids when you were talking to Jason?
Yeah, sorry, we did talk about the striping. So the tracks are done, and they included that in their report. So east and west have the cement tracks now, and those are completely done. What we did do, they were hoping for kind of an all-in-one, but they didn't include when they went out to include the striping, and so for the lanes, and so we're going to have to do that. We'll get on that as soon as we can. Just the amount's not going to be a lot, so we'll try and solicit 2 or 3 quotes from reputable people, companies, and get that done as soon as we can. But he was thinking it's only going to be a couple $1,000s to get the striping done. So if it ends up being more, but it won't be the amount that we have to go out for a formal bid. So
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I don't agree with your first assessment.
Oh,
No. I know
okay.
how much
I get-
that paint
I
is.
get
Things more than
Striping quotes all the time.
Yeah.
okay.
That paint is, yeah.
All right,
It's just a little-
expensive then.
Well,
Well,
it probably won't be as bad as you think, but it will
but
be
yeah.
more than you think. Too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get moving on that.
I do have a question though. Has any more communication with the ag building with Peterson Brothers? Has that continued to go, or are there meetings being set up or helping facilitate the construction on that?
Yeah, Jason has been part of those meetings on a regular basis now, and we did get. He had all the bids sent to him, and he was able to review them and what the company was thinking, what he was thinking. There was just one area that he said, yeah, probably not on this one, just past experience, and so they went ahead and we got that changed. But we have all that information. Things are going quite a bit better.
Was there? I'd have to ask, guys. What's a future date of that being done? Was there one given? I was asked
Well,
that.
initially they were thinking second semester. Jason told me this morning. He goes, it would be a miracle to have that ready to go second semester. He doesn't think it'll happen.
Do they have it planned all the way to the classroom furnished level, or just building structures what they have planned?
No, it did include, but we have to raise money for a lot of that classroom, those classroom items for the furnishing.
And are they planning their building structure around what we think we're going to do for furnishings?
Yeah, all that was included in the plan. There a couple issues did come up regarding their invoices. They apparently weren't submitting. I found this out today from our business manager, but they weren't submitting invoices in a way that we could pay and then get reimbursed from the state because they weren't in the format the state needs. And so we pass that information on to them, and hopefully we'll get those back in the format that we need to submit to the State Department.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Larson?
I think you should.
Appreciate it.
No? Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our action items. Or no, we still got item C, broadcasting meetings under discussion items. This is something that we were going to bring up and talk about tonight, whether we felt like there was still a need to be broadcasting our board meetings. Anybody like to share their thoughts on the?
Yeah, I'll share my thoughts. I think I was not here on the board when the board meeting started being broadcast. It was my understanding that one of the major reasons why that consideration was given was due to COVID.
Yep.
And all the stuff that was out there as far as spacing and not having too many people gathering. I think by all accounts, by local government, state government, federal government, we're beyond that point. I think that there is some value of having board meetings broadcast, but I think the greater value is having more people here in the board meetings. We want our community to be involved, not just aware, but involved. And I think being involved means coming to the board meetings. My desire would be to limit the number of meetings that we broadcast to meetings that would be extremely important. For instance, an example would be when we had the big finance situation that we just went through, I think it was definitely necessary to have that meeting broadcast, and I think we should consider stuff like that. But I think on the month to month, with us trying to manage costs, there is cost associated with broadcasting this. I think we've moved past what the initial point was of why we broadcast. My thoughts.
I'd have to agree with that. It did serve its purpose during COVID, and I think people have kind of got used to it, and which is great. I was to a meeting in Twin Falls that there was probably 6 or 7 different districts there of us, and I'm going to say over half of them don't do broadcasting anymore. We're one of the few. So I like to, I agree. When it's something important, yeah, let's put it out there. But I agree. They need to come and support us and see what's going on and be here, ask questions.
Okay. Any other discussion or comments? Or
Agree.
yeah, I tend to feel the same way. If we started doing it just like everybody else for a reason, but we're kind of life's back to normal now. So I definitely love to see more people, in attendance, in person, and so I kind of think that era is fortunately behind us. So anyway, well, with that, we'll move on to the business section. First item A is the school handbooks. Did everybody have a chance to read through those?
I read through looking for the yellow areas.
Yes.
and I did read through all the yellow areas of the changes, and yeah,
It was a lot of
it was a lot of reading to
Right.
do.
Right.
And the yellow areas, for those who are watching or in attendance, are just changes that have been made to
prior years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Anybody have any questions on any of the changes that they saw?
No.
Okay. With that, I would accept a motion for the approval of the school handbooks.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the school handbooks as given to us.
Okay,
As
there's
presented.
motion
As presented, yes.
Motion by Vice Chair Anderson. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Trustee Kent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
I'm just curious though. Is there a reason why each school has to have their own? Why we can't just have a general? Is that required? I'm just wondering. It doesn't
That
matter.
would be way less reading.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I'm wondering. But
I don't know this is the case, but
I don't know.
my guess would be is that
There are
our
differences
schools
between
serve
schools.
different communities, different areas, and sometimes it might be good to.
I was going to say that there's no requirement, but if you are trying to make it just like it was brought up, for that school community and the local community, there are just little nuanced differences. And they may not be much, but even from, the disciplining, hey, we want to, have our discipline outlined here and it's this, and this. Well, this school does it slightly different, this, and this. That's all it is.
Kind of have their own identities.
Yeah.
well, I sound a lot smarter coming from you.
Fair.
Although I have to say that kids, they don't get on here and read it, and some parents don't either. They're used to having that book handed to them.
I'm not sure I read them all the way through until I
Yeah.
sat up here. So
Anyway,
okay. Item B, the approval. Every year we have a audit done, and this is for the approval of Polson, Van Leuven, and Catmull for.
But we didn't vote.
oh, you didn't vote on it? No, we need to vote on that.
We didn't vote on.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah,
The
we
vote
did.
actually came before.
Oh, that's right. Jake
before
asked
this
his question.
Oh yes.
Jake brought up it afterwards.
It was
You're
already done.
He wanted the question was after the
Yeah, I didn't want to question that I was saying that it wasn't for.
Okay.
Just asking.
I have a little bit more.
Okay. All right. I would accept a motion for the approval of Polson, Van Leuven, and Catmull for district auditor.
I'll make a motion for the approval of Polson, Van Leuven, and Catmull for the district auditor.
Okay, motion by trustee Claridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by vice chair Anderson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item C, would anybody be willing to make a motion regarding broadcasting meetings?
I'll make a motion for broadcasting that we discontinue at our discretion to use when necessary for larger events. Regular broadcasting, and then but have it-
Reserve the right to broadcast.
reserve the right to have it for special events or as needed.
Broadcast special events or meetings, right?
Yes.
Broadcast.
Special event or as needed.
This is his motion. Let him have it.
I don't do them very often.
Okay, motion by trustee Kent.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, second by trustee Perez. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
So just in order to be ornery, can we cut the feed tonight?
Just cut it. He's like, "Oh, I'm done.
It would have been awesome as soon as we said aye, Cameron just hit it.
We'll shut it down.
Cameron's back there going.
And then have a please stand by.
Okay, the next item, item D, provision 2 for next year. Do you want to talk about that? Or?
So this is for our school nutrition and, a federal program that really allows us to provide breakfast. But if you remember in one of Katie's presentations, we talked about provision 2, and early on, she had anticipated the cost being, I can't remember, it was like $30,000 or $40,000 per year. But that was going to be like double the amount just with the kids participating. And then we have to turn around and pay for, the district is responsible for paying for any unpaid meal balances, when we decide we're done trying to collect. And so just with both of those together, Daryl and I met with Katie, and it's our recommendation to stop the Provision 2 program.
Any comments or questions from Mr. Larson?
Do we know where the numbers? I'm just curious. Do we know where the numbers came? The trend was that we thought it was going to continue to go in that negative. Did it continue on that almost double the cost of anticipated, or did it kind of level out?
So I asked her if I'm thinking of the right conversation. It was the Provision 2 cost us about $60,000. I hope that's accurate. The information I'm giving you, the unpaid meal balances was currently, as of last week, at it was like 29,000, but they were still collecting, thinking that would come down some.
If we do away with provision 2, does that do away with breakfasts in general at the school?
No.
Okay.
It would just be a paid meal. And there, we do run into the possibility of having those unpaid meal balances go up again. Yeah. But we have hired somebody to help try and, make phone calls and send letters and do that sort of work so that we can recoup that. But, between the two, I don't think that would come to $90,000. And so even if unpaid meal balances went to, say, 35, 40,000, well, that's quite a bit less than the two together or just the Provision 2 by itself.
Can that be something, with us hiring someone new to kind of monitor that and help collect some of that money, can that be something that the board can get reported to us on where we are on back pay on a monthly basis, like either at board meeting or through a superintendent letter, whatever it may be?
Yep.
I just would like us, if we're going to have someone employed there and we're going to go away from Provision 2, I'd like us to have some real accountability around it.
You bet.
Another thing, I believe it was after one of the budget meetings in a previous meeting when some of this discussion came up, I had somebody approach me, which I don't know if I think this is acceptable, but as a patron that wanted to see if there was an opportunity that they could volunteer to go to like the schools and try and offer assistance. So when people are paying other fees or whatever, ask people for donations to help pay down, other people's late fees or things like that. I guess I don't know the legality of that. If there were people out there in the district that wanted to do that, is that acceptable for them to ask people if they'd like to donate to the unpaid balances fund or something like that to help pay some of that debt off.
I mean, I don't want to control what other people do or don't do. For a lot of that volunteer, I wouldn't want them trying to, I guess, if you will, solicit donations while being at the school like that for that. But if they're on their own saying, hey, look, there's a group of us and we're willing to donate funds to the school and we've come together and hey, here's $5,000 and we want it, but they just have to make that donation and they can specify what it goes to. So if they want to say that this goes to meal balances, we can make that happen.
Okay, but it sounds like they wouldn't be allowed to be at the registration areas and just say, hey,
I just don't
like
know
a
how
sign
comfortable
or something
I would
that just-
feel with that. I mean, if we just left a sign there that said, donations welcome, but then that was it.
They're not trying to solicit,
Right.
just let people come to them and ask them
I was
questions.
going to say,
Go ahead.
Okay, so I have paid. I gave a donation of $500 last year. I walked right up to the cook and I said, "Here's $500 cash. I want to put on the books." I would feel comfortable doing that, but I don't know that I would feel comfortable having somebody in the building saying,
come donate.
"Yeah, yeah." As a
Soliciting
teacher, I don't know that I would
donations.
like all that extra.
Yeah.
promotion.
Yeah, and I don't think the intent was to go and like try and hey, you need to come donate. But like I said, if it was they were sitting at a table with a sign and people were able to come up to them and say, oh, well, yeah, you know what, I got some, I'll donate a little bit to that.
See, we don't
Cause.
let parents in that far. Even
Into the lunchroom.
Oh no, I don't think this was
we don't
the
do
intent that what she explained to me wasn't to like make this an everyday occurrence. It was like during registration they would maybe do something, set up a table that would allow people to come donate to it or something like that, so that they could have something.
Do our PTAs have tables at registration? Are they there?
Usually.
So maybe it's something that we work through them if they.
I was going to say, we'll work through them and they can have something, donations accepted, and
But legally, we're okay to make those.
yes.
I just
It's your
see
money.
the social media
Yeah.
thing.
It's your money.
Okay.
Yeah.
The PTA.
And like I said, you can donate to the PTA and let them decide how your funds or how they disperse your funds. You can donate directly to the school and stipulate, hey, I want it going to athletics, the baseball program. I want it going to school nutrition. I want it going to the school for school supplies. You can do that.
Yeah, nothing stops any person from giving voluntary money to the school. That is a problem with that.
No.
Okay.
Like if you did, awesome. Like that works just fine.
We will never turn you away. So if you want to do that again this upcoming year,
If you want to donate every paycheck to it, take it.
I'm working for free. My husband's providing, so I've got some that's coming in. I've got ideas going.
Well, we work for free too. So just
Super generous of you, though.
Yeah, yeah, it is very
I love that there's so many people in our community like that.
okay.
Did Becky talk to you?
No.
Okay, this is not.
You go, Zelma, you go.
All right. Any other questions regarding provision 2? Okay. With that, is someone willing to make a motion regarding provision 2 for next year?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we discontinue provision 2 for the next coming school year.
Okay. Motion by Trustee Perez. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Anderson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item E, the approval of the school nutrition job descriptions. On that, are those any new positions, or are they just?
one was for a new position. Most of those changes, however, were just if you notice up, it will required trainings, but one was a new position. Just there have been some to help back in the warehouse. She split one and separated. So now there'll be almost like an inventory warehouse, so we stay on top of what needs to be ordered, that type of thing.
Okay.
That would be the new position.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on those job descriptions?
The only thing I was, I guess, wondering, because I mean, technically, I thought she was the director, and that one didn't seem to have any markup. So I was just like, did they just repost the same thing, or was there a change in
Let's see.
title, or?
I didn't get a copy of the director one.
There's no yellow marks on it,
There's
so
no
my
yellow
assumption
marks
is
or
there's no changes that
strikeouts.
take
I don't know if
place.
it's that one that's on, or she created that one. I don't know.
School nutrition director.
Yeah, I don't know if she created that one or if it's the one from the website. I don't know.
So that was the only thing I was kind of curious, because all the rest had markups and
Right.
Changes.
Yeah.
so I was like, where did this one come from?
Well, really,
Good call, Jake.
I guess the board could decide to approve job descriptions,
All but that one.
all but until we get an answer for you.
I think that's
I
what we
would
ought to
feel
do.
better
Yeah.
about that. Because I was going to ask the same thing. I thought, why isn't this one
The director position, right? Or direct job
Yep.
description.
description?
For further information.
School nutrition director.
Yeah.
The SNF, yeah.
And if that is her title, then I would prefer to know that you've read it, and knew exactly what what we're getting ourselves into.
Okay, so that one's going to be held for further information, right? Okay, got it.
Well, we can approve do we want to approve the other?
I think so.
Okay. I would accept a motion for the approval of the school nutrition job descriptions, except for the SNP director.
I'll make that motion.
Motion.
Who was that? Was Jake?
Yeah. Trustee Clarge. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Trustee Perez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item F is approval of a MOU for the Boys and Girls Club. Everybody have a chance to look at that. Do you have anything you want to say about it?
Well, other than I don't know if this has come to the board for approval before or not, but there has been an agreement with the Boys and Girls Club of the Magic Valley for a few years. I just felt better, making the board aware. And
Yeah, I think we've
Yes.
approved them before.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have.
So the funding, though, the portion there, it talks about the transformation and stuff like that, that's something we've been
that's been in the agreements that I had Jesse send me the last agreement, and really this is what's been in those agreements. So,
do we have, just out of curiosity, do you know what that cost is for that, or I imagine it's minimal, but
I don't. I can get that for you though, or at least ask.
Yeah.
Colleen is currently at training. Yeah.
Okay, so
Must be less than what St. Nicholas.
Any other questions about that?
I have a comment.
Sure.
In my experience with my grandson, the kids just stay at school and parents have to come pick them up. There's no bus that takes them anywhere. Unless someplace
There's-
else.
I think there's busing maybe from site to site, maybe from
They have.
Paul and Amy or Sequent.
They
yeah, I
have a
think it
van,
refers
yeah.
to it as transfers, so I think it is.
Yeah.
and there's the
So-
middle school.
Well,
So it might not be anything more than we're already experiencing.
Oh,
There's a site on there, right?
Well, this year they are looking at trying to get a kinder program going, and so there might be, that transportation might look a little differently, instead of just site to site.
That did say that there was transportation. Yeah, they
Um,
have a van that they.
they have, a
So-
van that picks them up like in Sequent and brings them
It
over to
says-
Rupert Elementary.
It says the school district will provide in-kind amounts in the form of transportation from every feeder school, as well as matching funds in the form of custodial services at Rupert, Paul, and Hayburn Elementaries.
That's the way
Okay.
it started.
So,
But we don't do transportation anymore.
Just to the site that's over by the pool, right? There's a site now over by the pool.
Yes, there is
They
a site
take
near the
to-
pool.
Yeah, so there's some East students that they take over there.
Yeah, the older ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I still think that might look a little different with the kinder as they look to start that. trying to help families out, knowing that the district is only doing half-day kindergarten. Give parents an option. I know that they need to hit a certain number to
30,
even make it
35.
feasible, but they would like more than that. I think, though, that if I remember right, they said cap at about 50, 25 a.m., 25 p.m. And then what the transportation looks like at that point. I'm trying to think. They would take care of Asequa and possibly Paul, and then we would have the two sites, Hayburn and Rupert. Yeah. Do I have that wrong?
They usually do kinder over at their business. They can do kindergarten while they're
Okay.
closed.
Okay.
So they had listed on there 35 students.
Yeah, I think that's
Is what they needed, right?
They need about
To even have the program, like for them to even continue, yeah. But they would like more than that.
Big on that.
and they would transport them from any of the schools. Like if the kid was in AM kindergarten, they would transport them from there to the building.
No, to the whatever their site is. Parents would still need to pick up from there, as there's no transportation home.
Right, but they'll also do, they'll go there in the morning
and then they'll bring those kids over and pick the other ones up and take them back. Okay.
We might need to revisit that. I don't know.
You guys feel like you're ready to make a motion on that, or you need more information?
This is just the MOU. We don't have the, this is just the MOU that, for the basics.
Oh, for the basic,
This
it's
is
not
just
the
for
contract.
basics. We don't have, the kindergarten stuff, we haven't seen anything, right,
Yeah.
Mr. Robinson? We haven't
Yeah,
seen
they
the
just came out with their flyer.
We haven't seen the proposal. This is just the
Okay.
basic.
I'm
MOU.
Well, with that,
I'm
is
okay
someone willing to make a motion to approve the MOU for the Boys and Girls Clubs?
I'll make a motion that we approve the MOU for the Boys and Girls Club at this time.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Anderson. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Trustee Kent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, item G, the approval of bus routes.
Did you leave it in there?
It looks like
I can show it to you.
I got it.
transportation, after some of the talks we had in our prior meetings, has kind of consolidated some of the pickup and drop off points.
Yep.
In an effort to shorten routes and driver times.
Shorten routes, driver times, and really these routes are based on the information we have now. Is we talked about the online registration on the 29th, but then new students I think is August 5th. If we get new students, these may have to be adjusted a little bit depending on where people live, and we just kind of have to play that by ear still. And also, the safety stops are not included in this, as they didn't have time before they had to leave for their training to do that. So that will come to the board next month.
I would like, a request I have is, I think this is great. I appreciate the efforts that have been put into it. I would like to see this made available as much as possible. So on our website, in a very easy place to find, maybe on each of the schools' own drop points. I think during registration, paper handout copies or a QR code someone can scan and see where my kids go. I just want to make sure that when we start up school, that our parents are as informed as possible. Having small children, it would be cruddy if I'm sitting there on the first day of school wondering where the crap's the bus at,
Yep.
And so anything we can do to make sure that our parents are as well informed as possible, I think we need to.
I guess my question recommendation is if it could be visual for some.
I would agree.
It's a lot of street names.
Yeah.
They got me on it, but
They have the visual, but
it has the visual map where you can
Like
see.
in bus right.
Yes,
in
that's
bus.
right. So when the parents register, the minute they get their email or something, most parents have access to see their bus route.
they'll see. So they'll see
And
it at that
I
point.
love bus ride, and we'll use it. I think
But
there's plenty
whether-
of families that are unaware or don't know how to use that technology. So whatever we can do early on to get that messaging.
Have that idea.
We will do that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be even just a overall map that has the route area.
The shaded area, you live in this
Shaded
area,
area,
this
yeah,
is your
this
meeting
is
point.
your
If you
meeting
can
points.
print each map for each bus, and if they could do that and get it to me, I can scan it and just put it on the website.
Yeah, but like
And that's-
what just Mr.
don't
Kent
think
and
it's
Mr.
broken
Clark
into
said, I
bits.
think if you just looked at a map and your area is colored in pink, it's
Pink.
really easy to identify and go,
Yeah.
I
okay,
live in this area. I got
Yeah.
to make sure
Yeah,
they
need
meet
to be
here.
here. This is
Yeah.
my meeting point. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have the other tools of bus, right, to help you with the timing.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not waiting a half hour or longer
Down
for a
by
bus.
schools. Bus route, do you know?
It's by buses.
it's by bus route.
but
Yeah.
not by schools. So these go here. So it'd
But
be
if
by
they knew the bus, and they could just go to that bus and see
Right.
the.
okay.
Well, in theory, if they can see visually on a map, I live here. Oh, this is my meeting point. That's pretty easy. It doesn't matter what the bus number is.
Because
Yeah.
buses
You
aren't
know
named
where
different
to be.
spots for different.
That was broke down by school. That'll
Yeah.
be easy. Otherwise,
I
some
don't know.
people trying to read a map that won't work.
No,
I just
Like I
clicked
say,
each bus and
some
it
of your
had the
Spanish
map
people don't
of the
have that
routes,
map.
but it
I
was each
know, but if you just like
bus.
had a neighborhood,
Right.
so it was like shaded in yellow.
Yes.
We will make it
So
as
that.
easy as we
Big star
can,
right
Yes.
there.
and we will
It's
promote it.
complicated, but
Make
yeah.
it something that somebody that
Fair
wants
enough.
to understand.
It's cool to look at, right?
I've been in and out
I
of
don't think Trustee Perez heard you.
No, that's all right.
I think this is
Yeah.
great
Give him
and a
few
lot of work
gigs.
went
Probably
into it.
deserve not to have one more.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, I would accept a motion for the approval of the bus routes.
I'd like to make the motion approval for the bus routes.
Okay, motion by Trustee Kent. Is
I'll
there
second that.
Second by Trustee Perez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We're on to the policies. These are all second and third readings, so I think we could approve these tonight if everyone is so inclined. Did anybody have any questions or comments
Did not.
on any of these policies?
No comments.
No.
Okay. Well, with that, I would accept a motion.
Sorry, I do. I was just thinking, are any of these like ISBA?
Okay. No,
changes
you know
there.
what these are actually is, no, they're not ISB. What they are is the first one, Mrs. Kidd needed something changed in the salutatorian and valedictorian to stop what happened this year. The employee benefits, it's because of the cost. Those that work 20 hours or less no longer have benefits offered to them because we were paying for part of that too.
Well, so on that one, when you have an employee working 20 hours and the district provides benefits, well, okay, that's half time. So now they have to cover half of their benefits. Where if we say we're not even going to offer benefits to them, they actually can go out on the exchange and oftentimes, in most cases, find things a lot cheaper. So we're actually doing it to help employees out. It's not that we're not offering benefits, but we're giving them that option.
The
to get
tuition
to go out.
reimbursement, Mr. Larson just felt that we needed to have a certain amount because it was kind of all over the place. Sick leave, we got, when we had some certified teachers come in, we didn't have anything in policy about accepting their sick leave to put into ours. So we've changed that to where we can accept their sick leave and put it into our, is it the bank, Spencer, is that what you want to call it?
Well, just in their pool,
In their
so it
pool,
stays with
right.
them.
So
Yeah.
it comes over, so we put that to help them. Bereavement leave, we changed it to where it's a cousin or aunt or something to only one day if more time's needed. They can petition to the superintendent and get that time because it was very much abused this year. We'd find out it was third or fourth cousin and it was right here in Rupert that we'd have it.
We did want to make one change to have that be supervisor, building principal, / superintendent.
Superintendent or designee.
Yeah, I can do that. That's
Okay.
The
And
jury,
then what did we find out on the 3 days?
it's only gonna be one day.
I know, but did we ever clarify that it was not in the master agreement? I don't know that we ever finished that discussion.
I don't know as we did.
It may be in the master agreement as 3 days.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that. I'm gonna stop right there.
Sounds like it might be
So-
12:30 before the negotiations.
I'm not,
I know what you're saying.
yeah,
Well, if there's a question, we can just hold that policy again.
On the bereavement?
I say we do. Let's get clarification.
On, yeah.
Let's make sure what the
Let's
master
make sure
agreement
with the
says.
master
my
agreement.
mouth shut on, my mouth shut on it, I'm sorry.
Go to the next one, hurry, Carrie.
Hold for third. Okay, the next one, jury and no fault leave. The no fault leave was in the master agreement, but it was not in policy, and it referred to jury duty also. That's basically if someone gets summoned for a personal thing that has to be in court, they can be granted a day called no fault leave. If they may have to make it up, they may not have to make it up.
And
right?
we changed that to May.
Or to
yeah.
May. But it was just in the master agreement, so that didn't pertain to classified. So I put those all together. That is straight from the master agreement. The no fault leave, the jury duty is what we had, but the no fault leave is straight from the master agreement. The professional development days and teacher work days, I combined that, and the teacher work days is exactly wording from the meeting and what they wanted. So it's on there with the professional development day and teacher work days, because they wanted that. The grievance procedure one, all it states is because ours didn't match ISBA. Ours said that it would not be in their personnel file, and ISBA said the grievance stuff is in their personnel file.
Okay.
Those are the changes.
Evaluation of certificate.
Oh, sorry, that's evaluation. That is one that the admin met and MCA met.
Admin met, the negotiation teams met for the district and for MCEA. I would be hesitant to approve that policy actually until we come to a formal agreement for negotiations.
Do you want to hold
As
that
it as it was negotiated
Item
item.
9.
You want to hold that for third? Okay. Well, how is that going to work if they want to negotiate to put that in the agreement? We can't,
Why can't we?
because you guys haven't approved it. Right?
That's why it's being negotiated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just
I
hold
say
it.
let's just
Let's
hold
We
it.
hold it.
just kind of have to wait for negotiations and
Okay, but those are the only changes. Although on that evaluation policy, the percentages were not listed when you gave it to me. I took the percentages and put them in for your policy. Okay, just so you guys know.
Okay, so we want to hold 5 and 9.
I guess so.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. So with that, I would accept a motion to approve policy 284.00 salutatorian and valedictorian selection, policy 540.00 employee benefits, policy 542.60 tuition reimbursement, policy 544.10 sick leave, policy 544.90 jury duty and no fault leave, policy 581.00 professional development days and teacher work days, and policy 586.00 grievance procedure for certificated employees.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion that we approve the policies as read by the chair.
Okay,
Second.
motion by trustee Perez, second by vice chair Anderson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motions.
Who was the second on that one?
Mary.
Okay. yeah.
Okay, and with that, I would accept a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Okay, motion by trustee Kent, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Perez.